Hello, it's Pastor Penny. And today I'm taking one of the readings from the PCUSA Daily Lectionary, and, uh, and we're going to talk about it. And it's Ecclesiastes 3, verses 1 through 15. It's very familiar once you hear it, and it's popular at funerals, and I'm sure you'll recognize it. So this is it. There is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens. A time to be born, and a time to die. A time to plant, and a time to uproot. A time to kill, and a time to heal. A time to tear down, and a time to build. A time to weep, and a time to laugh. A time to mourn, and a time to dance. A time to scatter stones, and a time to gather them. A time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to search, and a time to give up, a time to keep, and a time to throw away, a time to tear, and a time to mend, a time to be silent, and a time to speak, a time to love, and a time to hate, a time for war, and a time for peace. What do workers gain from their toil? I have seen the burden God has laid on the human race. He has made everything beautiful in its time. He has also set eternity in the human heart. And yet no one can fathom what God has done from beginning to end. I know that there is nothing better for people than to be happy and to do good while they live, that each of them may eat and drink and find satisfaction in all their toil. This is the gift of God. I know that everything God does will endure forever. Nothing can be added to it and nothing taken from it. God does it so people will fear him. Whatever has already been, and what will be has been before, and God will call the past to account. Well, there's a lot in there, isn't there? And people like it, I think, at funerals because it makes them think, okay, th- this is the time for my loved one to pass away. And there's a time to live and a time to die. Um, and so many other things. A time to love and a time to hate. Um, Things that we don't want to necessarily remember. We don't want there to be a specific time, and that makes it okay. I think we want to say, here's what I want to happen. I want to be in control of time. And time is such a um, difficult thing sometimes for us to understand. We can't change the passing of time. We um, we have very limited capacities in a lot of ways, so uh, we can't see the whole picture. We can't fathom eternity, for instance. Um, in heaven, I have gathered from reading a lot of near-death experiences um, that there is no time like we have on Earth. Uh, a second could be an hour in heaven. There is no measurement like that, and that's difficult for us to wrap our heads around, isn't it? Um, what is past cannot be recovered, no matter what we want or think. Um, and God has a purpose and a plan for us, a special time for each emotion, um, a time to tear down and a time to build, time to weep and a time to laugh. And what would be a good thing for us, and I think and a healthy thing as a Christian, would just be to remember that in the moment. We can all strive for that, but if that moment comes, or when that moment comes, when we don't like what's happening, for instance, we don't want to hear it. we uh, we want things to go in our order of time and not in God's order. Um, so it's just uh, it can be a comforting passage, but it can also be sort of a frustrating one too. Something that we would butt our heads against because we don't like the way um, we're not in control. And I think the thing we're least in control of of so many things is time. It continues on no matter what. So I don't know if this is uplifting for you or brings you down. I hope it's uplifting. I hope it reminds us to just relax and know that God loves us and God's will is for us. Blessings.